Joining us to give a little bit more breadth to how this all played out is Memphis defense attorney Art Horne. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thank you, Pepper.
So you are familiar with these types of situations. Tell me just your reaction. Acquitted of all 7 charges. Does that surprise you?
It's shocking. I thought that if anything, they would have at least found them guilty of some of the lesser included, like aggravated assault or official misconduct. But again, these were not the actions of a Memphis jury. They were the actions of a Chattanooga jury. Unfortunately, when you have a jury from Chattanooga, they don't look like Memphis juries. And typically in Memphis juries, you're going to get probably at least 50% African Americans on those juries. They're going to understand a little bit better about cultural differences in how police interactions are with African Americans, how police interactions with stops happen, and I don't think that I think that was the big difference. And you can't second guess what the state of Tennessee did, but to consent to going to Chattanooga to pick a jury, I just don't know. I just don't know about that.
Now, DA Mulroy did speak to the public or to the media right after the verdict and just talked about how he can't really see anything that they would have done differently. He praised his team. As a defense attorney, where did you see the loopholes in the prosecution's arguments? Well,
I mean, as we talked last week, I mean, you had great lawyers on both sides: Paul Hagerman, Melanie Headley, Tanisha. They're all phenomenal prosecutors. John Keith Perry. The defense lawyers, they all did a great job. And again, this was their second bite at the apple. So they had an idea of what to expect. They brought their expert in to talk about how these officers didn't use excessive force. I think that played a role in it. I think jurors paid close attention to what the expert testimony that was brought. And I think Tyre Nichols' non-compliance with the stops, because there were 2 stops. There was one where they attempted to stop him and he was not compliant in stopping. And then the second interaction with police where he was asked to get out of the vehicle. They tried to get him to to put handcuffs on him to get him to stop fighting back at the police. And so I think those types of things were the things that the defense keyed upon, and I think those are the reasons that you saw this jury come back with a not guilty verdict.
Now, we heard Lauren talk about how the prosecution brought up 5 witnesses and the defense brought up 17. The prosecution rested their case on day 3. Just the way the timeline of this whole trial played out, was that hasty for the prosecution? It sounds like it was pretty unexpected. The defense took their time a little bit. How does that strategy play with how many witnesses you bring on and what that looks like to a jury?
Yeah, I didn't think the defense, I don't think the state of Tennessee really brought in a lot of lay witnesses, and I was really surprised by that. I thought that they would have maybe put on proof of some of the other officers that weren't arrested, that had observed some of the interactions, even some of the EMS workers and their observations. I think people want to hear from lay witnesses. People want lay testimony. But again, we can sit here and second guess all day long about why the jury did what they did. And again, I'm still kind of in shock that they didn't come back with any of the lesser includeds. But you had good counsel on both sides, and the defense did a great job. Okay. They did a great job in this case. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not outraged at the verdict and I'm not upset as a Memphian, and I'm not saddened by what the Nichols family has had to endure. Mm-hmm. And is this, egg on the face of the city of Memphis and our community? I think it is in a sense. But again, we didn't have a Memphis jury decide the fate of these officers, and I think that, to me, is one of the areas that I maybe, I wasn't integrally involved in the case, But that bothers me.
Yes.
That bothers me because I think a Memphis jury is they're from here, and they would have understood the gravity of this case and what this means to the city, and I think I just don't know if it would have been. It just seems like it was taken a lot more lightly. But that's just my opinion.
It does seem the jury was the key piece of this trial. But thank you so much, Attorney Horne, for joining us today. Your perspective is always so interesting and insightful for situations like this.